the recruiting, as you said earlier, has remained very, very strong. Clearly, recruits are buying what he's selling. I'm just wondering if the pitch has changed at all now with Brent Venables as compared to Lincoln Riley. Two very different coaches, right? What was
Sure.
Lincoln selling versus what is Brent selling now?
I guess in layman's terms, it's probably a little bit more glitz and glamour with Lincoln.
Yeah.
Obviously you're going to be bringing in the cars and all that kind of stuff on the field that, the old Oklahoma fans that rub the wrong way. But at the same time, you got to do that with what the current world of recruiting is. A reliance maybe more so on the transfer portal as far as plug and play, as opposed to what Brent wants to do in building from the ground floor up and recruiting really good classes and getting guys that stick around for the program for 3 or 4 years. Now, not to say that they're not going to be active in the portal, because you simply can't do that unless you're a Georgia that's bringing in, 25 5-stars every year.
Right, right.
But I do think that, relational is probably the buzzword that gets used quite a bit right now with Brent and what they're trying to build. They have a really strong staff as far as holdovers or guys that ended up staying around from the earlier staff, and with Lincoln Riley, whether it be Bill Beatabo or DeMarco Murray, Oklahoma guys, if you will, and then kind of the new flavor of guys with a Todd Bates or a Miguel Chavis or a Brandon Hall that came in, with Brent on the defensive side of the ball. So it's been super interesting. Like the one thing that, and I think it's everywhere that you get a family atmosphere, but there is a true focus on that in Norman right now. The Soul Mission program is one of those things that I think kind of leads the charge for them. That has a bunch of former players. Curtis Lofton's a part of it. Josh Norman's a part of it. Caleb Kelly from years past is a part of it, as well as Ryan Young. And it's kind of interesting, spiritual to a certain extent, that I think speaks to a lot of parents when they come and bring in their kids for official visits, and obviously speaks to a lot of players as well. So for them to hold that class together, and certainly Jackson Arnold did a good job of kind of steering that thing out of some pretty rough waters when you look up and they're trying to be bowl eligible in one of the final weeks of the season. I think when Colton Vasek decommitted, there was a lot of people, and this is kind of in the wake of that 49-0 ass whooping at the Cotton Bowl, that thought, here we go. You're going to look up and all of a sudden this team's going to be in the mid 30s in the recruiting realm. And it went the other way. And they were able to get a Peyton Bowen at the end of the cycle. As weird as that all ended, they were able to hold on to a PJ Adebore. There's something that players are buying into. I think a part of that is the pitch. Another part of that, though, is just simply the message that everything is going to be okay once you get the players in. And the resume that these guys have, particularly on the defensive side of the football, there's a lot of leeway there. There's a lot of buy-in that I think a lot of kids can kind of relate to. And there's a lot of opportunity in Norman as well, especially on the defensive side of the ball for somebody to be able to come in and play immediately. So it's kind of interesting. Like they're pretty polar opposites as far as I think the way that they go about their recruiting pitch. But at the end of the day, it's almost kind of like Texas in a way. Oklahoma recruits itself to a certain extent. And, with the tradition and the history that school has, it's a pretty easy sell. I remember talking to Miguel Chavis just as far as, like what that pitch is like. And this is his first real position coaching job, and being able to walk in with OU on the shoulder, or, the Jordan brand, wherever, it gives a little bit of an added bonus to maybe some other places that you would try to recruit and be a little bit harder. So it's been kind of fun and fascinating to watch here over the first, I guess, year and a half as we enter the second spring under Brent. And I think that if they can keep that recruiting the level that it is right now, it would be hard to think that it's not at some point going to come together defensively.
Yeah.